Today on the channel, it's the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and today on the channel, I'm talking my top 5 most wanted action figures.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition here on the channel where every single Thursday we're counting down my top 5 or top 10 list of some kind of action figure related item. And today, I thought we'd take a little step back as I feel we did a video very similar to this maybe two and a half years ago. What is time, as I always say. But we did a video where I talked about my most wanted action figures. As you guys know, I got a sizable action figure collection, and there's a lot of old stuff I already have, so there's not a ton of old stuff I'm really looking for the most part. I'm usually looking ahead to new items that are coming out. That being said, there's always some of those grail items, those white whale items you've been looking for that are in your eBay save searches, your Mercari save search, you're looking on Facebook groups for, things like that. So today on the channel, I figured I would count down my 5 most wanted action figures that I'm playing a little of that long game. I guess it really is the long game on these. Things I'm looking for, and this just kind of hits home this week because this week, of course, this video dropping on Thursday, well, this weekend is the Kane County Toy Show right outside of Chicago, the biggest toy show in the United States. Every year they do it 3 times a year. I am planning on heading to that show, so of course I got these things in the back of my head saying, okay, maybe I'll see these, hanging around. So figured it'd be a perfect time to do this very video and a great time for you guys to interact in the comments down below with your top 5 most wanted things. What are you looking for? What have you been on the hunt for? And who knows, maybe just in the comments down below somebody might have something you're looking for, and maybe you guys can strike yourself up a deal. Who knows on that aspect of it. But I thought this would be a neat idea for a video here. So, like always, make sure you put your list in the comments down below, but make sure you put them in order. What's the number 1 thing you're hunting for all the way down to the 5th most wanted thing you're hunting for? So without further ado, let's get to my list, and let's start it off at number 5. All right, we kick it off at number 5 on my top 5 most wanted list. What have I been playing the long game for? What am I searching for? Well, number 5 is a childhood favorite. Now, I'm very nostalgic for my childhood toys. That being said, I can't go back and get all of my childhood toys, as I had a pretty significant collection back in the day, as well as I do today, of course. And where would I put it all? Especially all my G.I. Joe stuff, things like that. But I do have a few pieces that I am very nostalgic for that I would like to get in my collection once again. And what is coming in at number 5? Well, it's coming from Kenner Toys. If you guys remember them, of course, they were purchased by Hasbro, folded into that company, but this is Kenner, and when you think early 80s Kenner, you think Star Wars, you think Star Wars Return of the Jedi, you think the Rancor monster. Yes, the Rancor. You guys know my love for the Rancor. So disappointed that Star Wars, the crowdfunding HasLab did not work out about a year ago, really, this time frame. I was all in on that, and Hasbro really blew it with that. If they would have had that HasLab a couple months later after the Book of Boba Fett, I think that thing would have funded for sure. So I didn't get my giant Rancor. Hopefully one day, maybe they can run that back. I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath, I guess. But I do not own the original Rancor figure. One of my favorite action figures that I had as a kid. Just such a cool, gnarly, big beast. And I've always wanted to recapture that magic and get that figure once again in my collection. Now, you guys know the Rancor is not super rare. There is a lot of them. You go to any toy show, you're going to come across a Rancor. But that being said, you see a lot of paint chipping, of course, on an old child's toy that was played with. You see broken teeth, you see broken fingers, you see the lever on the back that doesn't work anymore. So if I'm going to get one, I don't need an in-box. I don't need an in-box one, but I need a minty specimen. That's what I need in my collection. So I need a minty loose one. And they've been around, of course. Like I said, I've seen them in tons of different shows, all kinds of prices. Seems around $100 is where they were for a long time. Seems they've went up a little bit in the last year or two, but I'm still keeping my eye on it. This is one of those ones that I will see at the Kane County Toy Show, probably repeatedly. And I don't know, is this the time I finally pull the trigger on it? It's number 5 on my list because it's not a must-have. I gotta find this thing. I'm gonna grab the first one I see, but it's something I always have in the back of my mind. I'm waiting for a good one at a very good price. And one of these days soon, on a weekly purchases to come, we will have this Rancor figure. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be today, it might not be next month, it could be 5 years from now, but we'll get that in the collection one of these days. So coming in number 5 for me is the Rancor. All right, next up at number 4, we go to wrestling. We go to Jakks Pacific. We go to Jakks Legends of the Ring Ringside Collectibles exclusive 2-pack Sting and Hulk Hogan. Of course, this is Hulk Hogan Bloody Edition. Now, I do have a loose set of these, but I decided I want to have a mint on card full set of the Legends of the Ring figures, and I need this 2-pack as part of that mint on card set. Now, of course, we know the Legends of the Ring set, really the sister set to the Jakks Class Superstars. When Jakks lost the WWE license, they pivoted, went to Legends of the Ring as the new one. Of course, they had the TNA license. They had some of those guys. So we get a more TNA version of Sting. We get a Hulk Hogan. Cool thing on this Hogan, of course, bloody figure, bloody down the arm, all that kind of stuff. A lot of bells and whistles that we do see with the ringside collectible exclusives. Now, this is one that comes up fairly often, usually mint on card at well over $200, which is a lot to pay. I hate paying that price, but I'm going to have to break down. One of these days, I'm going to have to do it. But once again, got to get a deal. Going to keep that long game. Going to keep playing. Keep looking for this one. But I definitely do need this Hogan and Sting. Like I said, I got the loose version. Now I need the mint on card version. So hopefully I can stumble across this one. This is one, like I said, it pops up fairly regularly on eBay's, Mercari's, Facebook groups. It's just getting it at the right price. And that's what I'm going to do here on the long game. So number 4 for me, Legends of the Ring, Hulk Hogan and Sting. All right, we're at the halfway point. You got your list together? Did you put it in the comments down below? Make sure you get that done before the video is over. And for number 3 for me, once again, we go to the Jakks Legends of the Ring set. This time, we go to Jeff Hardy. And this is one I've never really paid much attention to, even at the time of release, because I said, guess what? We've had a million, literally 1 million Jeff Hardy figures from Jakks back in the day. This didn't really feel that special. It just felt like a, hey, we have access to this, let's just throw him in the line. That's really what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like there was any real rhyme or reason to throw him in the Legends of the Ring line, especially as a ringside exclusive once again here. But it happened. We've seen the figure. Now, this is a special one. We talked about the Hogan Sting before. I just need a mint on card one. Well, this Jeff Hardy, I need mint on card, but I also need a loose version. So I need both versions of this. This one didn't really go for a fortune, but as of this video release, as of filming right here, this just went for like $320 or something on eBay, mint on card. I have no idea what happened there, why that went so high. A little anomaly right there. There's no way I'm paying that price for that Jeff Hardy figure. There's really not a ton of meat on the bone for this. It's just part of completing a collection is what that is. So I need a loose one, need a mint on card one. This one could be the struggle. This could be the sleeper struggle of the top 5 list. We'll see how that shakes out. Probably not, though. I think some of the other stuff I'm looking at is a little bit more pricey. But hopefully I can come across these two. That's my goal by year end, is to find at least one of these. We'll see if that ends up happening. And of course, like a lot of this stuff, you'll find out on weekly purchases every single Saturday on the channel. So check that out if you are so inclined. So there you go. So there it is, number 3, Legends of the Ring, Jeff Hardy. All right, we've come to the number 2 spot in our countdown here, and this is an interesting one here at number 2. Of course, number 2 is one of my favorite lines of all time, if not my favorite line of all time. It is the Jakks Classic Superstars line. And this is a little bit of an anomaly, a little bit under the radar. I shouldn't say a little bit under the radar. It's so far under the radar, it's underground, really. It's down in the Earth's core is where this one is. And this one is Giant Gonzalez, one of the greatest classic superstar figures of all time. A fabulous figure. If you want that figure, it can blend in with your Mattels just perfectly. An absolute awesome figure. Hopefully Mattel one day gives us a Giant Gonzalez. But this Giant Gonzalez is very, very interesting, and I've just came to be aware of this in the last year and a half or so. Apparently down in South America, they got a different version of Giant Gonzalez, and I'm not 100% sure, and I still would not count this as an official figure, but the paint is a lot lighter. It is a lot whiter with more of a tan giraffe type color on the regular release. So it's a very light skinned Giant Gonzalez figure. I got to get it because I love Giant Gonzalez. I love classic superstars. And there's about 4 or 5 of them, I think, that have came to life at least down in South America. I'm sure there's more than that. I don't know if anybody knows the true history here, but apparently a lot of factory seconds and leftovers and loose figures came from the factories down that way, and that's where a lot of these came from. Some people said they came without a head. Some people said they came with a Great Khali head on them. There's a lot of mystery there. That's why you really can't count this as official. It's just kind of a little asterisk off to the side. But loving Giant Gonzalez, loving that figure, just the crazy anomaly of it all. I would love to have that in my collection one day. I think it would just look really, really cool. And that's why it comes in at number 2 on my most wanted list. All right, here we are at the number 1 spot. Going to remind you guys and gals to put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. That is the fun part of this, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to this very YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell as every single Thursday we're doing these countdowns. I'd love to have you a part, and I love your participation as part of it. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you made it this far, you might as well give the old video a thumbs up. Like this video. It does help the channel, as you guys know. But who took the number 1 spot here? And number 1, we go back to sentimental reasons. Much like the Rancor we talked about at number 5, this is my true white whale, my true holy grail. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a white whale. I could purchase this. I think there's people that have this for sale. It just costs an absolute fortune. But this one brings me back to my childhood when I was a very, very little kid. And I got my first ever Ultimate Warrior figure. What are we talking about? We're talking about the LJN Black Card Grand Toys Ultimate Warrior mint on card. You guys know I got a pristine loose one in my collection. That fills a lot of that nostalgia for me. But really, if there's one mint on card thing I'm looking for that is really a hole in my collection, it is that LJN Grand Toys Black Carded Ultimate Warrior. Brings me back when I was little. Of course, I got all the wrestling magazines. Every week I'd get a different wrestling magazine at the grocery store. I'd beg my dad and he would get me one. And on the back of those, of course, there was the order form. I forget what the company's name was, but that order form was there for years. And I probably got about 70% of my LJNs out of there. And especially the black carded ones. Most kids on the old playground, they didn't know anything about the black card LJNs. A lot of people didn't know about them for a lot of years. But kids like us that grabbed the magazine back in the day, we knew all about these. And we didn't know they were Canadian exclusives. We figured, hey, I'd see them at the stores, but we just didn't see them at the stores. They just didn't show up. And I just assumed, being a little kid, and I'm sure my dad, he assumed the same thing. Well, our stores just didn't get them. They just didn't get them in, or they sold out real quick, or whatever it may be. So we ordered them at an obscene price even back then, but I got all the black carded series. Got all those figures. I believe it was for my birthday or Christmas back then. I think it was my birthday, but it could have been Christmas. One or the other. I need to fact check that. But I remember being so jazzed, so excited to get that first ever Ultimate Warrior figure. You can imagine what he did that night in my figure fed playing as a kid. I treated my Warrior with so much respect. It was pristine. But I'll never forget getting those. Getting all those guys, all that black card goodness. Didn't know how good it was until right now or many years later. But to get that mint on card in a nice case, prominently displayed somewhere in my collection, I think that would be the holy grail for me. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I think it goes for like, what, $4,000 or something like that on card. I don't see the day I'll ever be able to pull the trigger on that. Heck, I think some guy was selling it for $10,000 at one toy show recently. So who knows? It really is all over the place. It is a very small market. There's not a lot of people really willing to throw that much money at an action figure like that, especially in this economy. But it would be cool, and you can always dream, and you should always shoot for those stars. You never know what might happen. Maybe one of these days you'll get a deal. Got to get a deal out there, and it might come through true. You just never know. But I'm putting him at number 1 for me. Don't expect to see him on weekly purchases anytime soon, I would say. But what say you? Remember, put your list in the comments down below. And don't forget about the Patreon channel here, where you can get videos like this much earlier than traditional YouTube. Bonus content, exclusive content, early access to videos, Q&As. A lot going on over the Patreon. And best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget to follow along on social media. SirPaul64 is where you'll find me on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for my top 5 most wanted action figures, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.